Hi there. Before you jump into this episode, we want to make sure our listeners know about the How Do You Drew Patreon page, where we release exclusive content for our members.
We've shared unedited video versions of podcast episodes, rare Drew Barrymore photos from our digital archives, movie commentaries, and so much more.
We're currently working through a deep dive of each chapter of Little Girl Lost, which, if you don't know, is Drew's out-of-print autobiography released when she was only a teenager. And it's been really good stuff, you guys.
There's already plenty of content to dig into and lots more to come. So join now for as little as $1 a month and support us at How Do You Drew.
Yeah, go to patreon.com/howdoyoudrew to join today. Thank you.
Enjoy the episode.
Hello, and welcome to How Do You Drew?
This is a Drew Barrymore podcast brought to you by thedrewseum.com.
And sponsored by our friends at Positive Medium.
I'm Anne.
And I'm Ashley, but you can call me whatever you want.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
That is just perfect. You guys will figure out why that's perfect if you haven't checked out the title or seen what we're talking about. That's perfect.
I love to think that there's anybody that jumps in and has no idea what the episode is about. Somewhere someone must.
Sure. They're like, oh, next episode.
Yeah. Autoplay. Don't look up. Yeah.
Also, maybe we also have alter egos this episode. So what else might you call yourself?
I love it. All right. So before we get into our special episode, couple things to follow up on last episode about Marilyn Monroe. Of course, it makes sense. I found a couple more things I wish it included because last episode and this episode kind of dovetail in a really lovely way.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah. So we were talking all about Drew and Marilyn Monroe and any parallels and tributes that Drew has done to her over the years. And I found this film review magazine it was a special Batman Forever issue from 95. And I love this quote. She said, "I've loved Marilyn since I was a little girl. She's the sexiest, most fluorescent woman I've ever seen in my life. But yet she had that sparkle in her eye and that great vulnerability. Women and men both loved her."
Oh, that's a great quote.
Fluorescent woman. I'm like, that could also be true.
Yep. And then just the talking about the vulnerability, the things that, that make her charming. That's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then you pulled something from Mirabella magazine and it was talking about Bert Stern, right? So I'll go ahead and read this. So Bert Stern, renowned for his piercing shots of Marilyn Monroe and other screen icons, captured Drew for us, culminating his long fascination with her personality and career. "I wanted to photograph her at least 5 or 6 years ago," he says. "People would ask, 'Who do you want to shoot?' And I'd say, 'Drew Barrymore.' According to Stern, the fascination was reciprocal. At the end of the shoot, she told him, 'I wouldn't feel right leaving if I didn't tell you this. Ever since I was a little girl, I've wanted to work with you.'" That's so cool.
Can I jump in there and say, we sort of theorized that, maybe she was thinking about, oh, he shot Marilyn. This is so cool. Yeah. And I forgot that this article would talk about that because normally articles don't really reference the photo shoot that goes with them.
Yeah, that's so cool. So it goes on a little bit longer. So it says, "To capture Barrymore, Stern put the light unusually close to her, emphasizing the radiance of a starlet. To capture the image, the tasteful bouquet held over her nude torso seemed only natural. Although he doesn't see a parallel in the ups and downs of his and Barrymore's careers, Stern does connect with her acting style. She's an American dream child," he said, "like Marilyn in a certain way, the product of a dream machine."
Oh,
that's so cool.
So fun.
Yeah, I love it. It kind of gave me chills at the end just because it's
yeah,
I don't know.
I wish we'd included it last episode, but we didn't. So there it is now.
There it is. And hopefully, all those people that came from Maryland are here again.
Yeah,
right? Everyone.
They came back.
Everyone is back. All right. So now let's jump into our mailbox.
You've got mail.
This was just so sweet. I had to pull it and I asked permission if it was okay to read. One of our wonderful, sweet, sweet, sweet listeners, Luana from Brazil, she sent us such a nice message after the last episode. And I thought it would be so cool to include this.
Yeah, let's do it. She said, "Hi, girls. I just wanted to say how much I loved this week's episode. The comparison between Drew Barrymore and Marilyn Monroe was simply amazing. I had never thought of it before, but now I can't unsee it. Thank you so much for always bringing such wonderful and exciting news about Drew. I can't even put into words how grateful I am for all the love and dedication you put into the podcast." Come on. She said, "Every time I listen, I feel this crazy urge to thank you and give you both a big warm hug, kind of like a Drew style hug, you know, that spontaneous hug that makes you laugh and cry at the same time. It's almost making me cry."
I know.
And then she said, "Sending all my love from Brazil. And I hope you always feel embraced by your listeners, just like I feel embraced by you every week. With love and a big smile, Luana." Thank you.
So sweet.
So sweet.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
She's definitely one of those cheerleaders that I'm like, every time I'm like, oh, we don't have a lot of listeners, or I get like a little down on analytics. And
Yeah.
then like a message from her comes through and I'm like, no, it's all worth it.
Yeah, and like, you know, this is not somebody who like I knew of being in our Drewbie community before. So like
True.
so she's come into my knowledge as a listener, which is really fun. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That is extra
We're
special.
really doing this for you, Luana. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's for us and it's for you.
You know, you.
All right. So I know there's not much here before we get into weekly topic, but let's talk about what's new with Drew.
Do you want to hit the headlines?
Headline.
Okay. Yeah. Headline. One singular headline. This is so strange and confusing, but maybe flower eyewear is still a thing? So there's a promo photo photographer Ramona Rosales, who also did the AARP photo shoot from earlier this year.
Mhm.
She posted this new promo photo for flower eyewear that she took of Drew.
It's so
Which
cute.
is like, oh, it's so cute. This picture's already being used on the French site Atoll. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's pretty much the only place you can get the new flower eyewear styles. Why?
Why? Yeah. What is going
Why?
on? Yeah. What? Well, Walmart has always had, we've always had problems with Walmart, but like, yeah.
Walmart.
No, but you know, yeah, that's weird, but
Yeah, I don't know what this means. Like, I guess they're still doing it sort of for this French site.
I mean,
I don't know.
I told you, I feel like I see more, like I see a bunch of styles like in the store at Walmart, but like not online. So I'm not really sure like what that's about, like why the marketing is so just like directly to the stores. Like,
Confusing.
who knows? Confusing. Yes, very confusing.
But we will continue to report on it as we know more.
Yes, and very, very cute poll. I actually really like her in these big, like almost like octagon glasses.
I know. They're really cool.
They are cool, and I almost wouldn't expect. A lot of people don't like pull those off. Of course, Drew does, though.
Well, yeah,
Of course.
she's the one that can pull off a lot of things.
Yes.
Hey, Drewbies! We are here to tell you about our website hosts, Positive Medium, and they sponsor the podcast. We've been clients of theirs for over 10 years, and we use them for all our website needs on thedrewsium.com.
Their services include customized web design, professional coding, search engine optimization and marketing, plus hosting, which has been huge for us for many years.
Plus, their incredible customer service has been one of our favorite features. They've literally saved our site quite a few times, and they always help with minor troubleshooting in a matter of minutes. So whether that's coding issues or back-end questions, etc., we reach out, we get help immediately, which is just invaluable.
Lucky you, to our listeners, Positive Medium is offering 25% off any managed WordPress hosting plan using our promo code DREW, that's DREW. Visit our friends over at positivemedium.com.
Thank you.
Oh, look to the Batmobile.
All right, guys. You probably saw when you clicked on this episode, but we are talking about a film from 1995, one of our favorite Drew eras, Batman Forever.
Okay, I'm already going to go off script because you just saying 95. I was like, number one, I just saw something earlier today that called this the most 1995 movie of all 1995 movies. Accurate. And number two, then I was thinking about the fact that we got 3 major Drew films released within 4 months of each other in 95.
Whoa.
Crazy. Boys on the Side, Mad Love, Batman Forever. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
What a time.
That is why within 4 months, you said.
4 months. That's never
What
going
a
to happen
time
again.
for real. I mean, I think maybe we talked about this before because like 1998, also 3 films were released. So there's this like maybe parallel between like what was happening in her careers at that time, those times, you know, like, whoa, like she
Ramping
really was just like doing a lot of work back to back. Yeah, so here we are to talk about this fun, very 1995 film that like, you know, watching it, I was like, have I ever even like fully watched this film? Like I was like laughing so much, like
there were definitely parts that I remembered and parts that I'm like, what is this? Before we get into everything, I do want to give some shout outs. So obviously we have, you know, a massive amount of our personal archives that we do research from when we do these kind of episodes. But I did get a little extra help thanks to the account on Instagram, Cut Schumacher. And we're going to talk about them more towards the end of the episode. But they helped me out with some production materials that really helped me nail down dates and deleted scenes and what was filmed and what wasn't. So we're going to have like really cool information that maybe most people don't know about, especially Drew's part in this movie.
that is so cool.
Oh my
best.
God. You know me, I gobble that shit up. So I was losing my mind. And then I also used the website 1995batman.com for some research. And those are both just excellent resources if you're a fan of the film. And in fact, if you like found this episode because you're already a fan of the film, you probably already know both of those resources, but just in case, thanks to them.
Yes, that's awesome. And yeah, I love when production materials are available in any way, because if we don't have those, like we can't pin down, like there really is no other way to pin down.
I mean, it wasn't until doing this research that I knew she was still filming the movie in the beginning of 95. Like that was brand new information to me.
So cool. All
so
right,
cool.
Let's get into it. So I'll just kind of hit some of the big kind of credits here at the top. So we have director Joel Schumacher. We'll talk a little bit about Drew's like existing relationship with Joel Schumacher in a bit. The writer credits, there are a few of them. So we have Bob Kane, which is the creator of Batman. Lee Batchelor and Janet Scott Batchelor wrote the original script, and then there were major rewrites done by Akiva Goldsman.
Okay, are you ready for the IMDb summary?
Yeah.
It's just like way too crowded, but okay. Batman must battle former district attorney Harvey Dent, who is now Two-Face. Too many words. And Edward Nygma, the Riddler, with help from an amorous psychologist and a young circus acrobat who becomes his sidekick, Robin. Cluster.
It is a little bit of a cluster. By the way, like just reading that like summary, I read it before I watched it and I was like, circus acrobat? Like I was like, I don't remember, and like truly, I don't remember that element at all. Anyway, it gets funny. We'll talk more about it, but like
it does.
What? Like it's like truly creates that character. Like it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Drew said about the film, it's the sexiest, most unique, and different of all the Batman movies, filled with genius ideas from screenwriter Akiva Goldsman. Cool.
She definitely was like talking it up. She also said, I won't say it's better than the other Batman films because that could be misconstrued as snotty, but I think it's very different from the others. It has a genius screenplay that takes you into this realm of total imagination. And I love the fact that Joel played that up. He really went for the comic strip idea and the surrealism of that, which I
agree.
I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I also I really like is it 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton?
I've never seen it, as far as I know.
I mean, that's like probably the first one I saw. And then I I love the old TV show.
But yeah, I wanted to talk about that at some point. Let's just say it here. Like, I remember you went through a phase of being really into the 60s show.
Yeah. And I had watched like a bunch of the episodes as a kid. And then I think it was this would have been like early on of us like hanging out a lot. I like got really into it, like the early 2000s. And I definitely have at least seen every episode at least once because I was like watching reruns enough. It's so fun. If you guys haven't watched like any of the original 1960s Batman, oh my God.
It is really fun. I remember that's the only time I've seen it is with you, and I remember really enjoying it. So did you find that there were aspects of that you recognized in this version? Yeah.
In some ways, for sure. Like some of there's like campiness that like comes through that really like, actually there were definitely a few points. I wish I had made notes of it, but I was like, that's like kind of a callback. Oh, I can think of one right now. There was like a holy something Batman, but then it ended up being like he didn't actually mean
No, I literally mean there's holes in this metal. Yeah.
Yeah, but I loved it. I was like, oh my God, they have one of those in here. But then I was like, it was playing off the fact, and I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I definitely felt that like call back to that. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Let's just play this quick little clip of Drew talking to David Letterman about just gushing a little bit more about the movie.
Well, no, I think this Batman, I mean, it's just different. It has a lot of humor in it.
It's going to be a little funnier, a little lighter.
A little bit funnier, a little bit lighter, but it's, I mean, what Joel Schumacher did with this film is just incredible.
Joel Schumacher is the director?
Yeah, yes.
Well, I wouldn't care about him.
And look at the cast. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's get into the development of the film, the making of. There is lots of drama and development and casting stuff that we're not even going to touch here.
Can't even begin to get into.
Yes. But in the episode page, we'll have a link to a Hollywood Reporter article that really gets into those details. And we are going to focus, as usual, on Drew Barrymore's participation in this film. So that's where like all of this stuff is focused around. So if you are here, that's what you're going to get.
I mean, it's kind of cool because like it's kind of tunnely vision.
Yeah.
I don't think there's probably any other resource out there that's going to talk this much about Drew's particular part because it's so small. Yes. I was actually going to time her screen time. I never got around to it.
It can't be more than 2 minutes or something.
You think 2? I was going to say 5. Now, somebody out there, let us know. It's like the first scene is kind of long, but she's not on screen for a lot of it.
True.
Yeah. Somebody else knows, I'm sure of it. There's a lot of people out there who really, really, really go deep for this movie.
Yeah, so. Totally. So we're here to go deep on this particular part, and that's Drew. All right. So let's get into the cast and crew.
Okay, so the director is Joel Schumacher, as we stated before, and him and Drew have a really special, they had a long-term relationship. R.I.P. He is no longer with us.
Oh, but that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, and losing Val Kilmer this year and it being an anniversary both kind of inspired me to want to do this episode this year. Not that I have a big Val Kilmer thing, but I was like, oh, it feels timely. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we just love this clip of Joel Schumacher talking about the first time he met Drew.
Yes.
This is from her celebrity profile. And we've always loved quoting this. So we're just going to put it in here for you guys.
Enjoy.
Joel recalls the first time he met Drew.
I was sitting in a restaurant in Beverly Hills and with my friends, and there was a tug at my sleeve, and this, exquisite 8 or 9 year old child was standing there, and it was Drew Barrymore, and she said, "Hi, I love your movie. I've seen it 50 times and I know every word." And I was so undone by this beautiful child. So we've stayed kind of friendly, and so I was able to call her up and ask her to be in the show.
Oh,
I do love
that's
that.
That's a good little Drew impression.
Yeah.
Hi, I love your movie.
I think she was talking about St. Elmo's Fire, by the way. I've somehow found that out.
That is so awesome. Yes, we've said, "Hi, I love your movie," like endless times over the last many years that we've known each other.
Drew once said, "I've known Joel since I was 7 years old, and he's someone that I truly admire in every way. Talk about intellect and humor. He was there for me always. He's always been a strong, supportive friend to me."
Oh, another one of those people who's like looking out for her.
Totally.
We have to point out that he had previously directed Drew in the 1992 show 2000 Malibu Road. And I think in this clip, he was talking about getting her for the TV show, which is really fun. Yeah. And that show is very cheesy if you guys don't know it.
Oh boy. Saxophone.
Wait, we got to cover that episode by episode.
Oh my God.
Maybe for the Patreon.
Yeah, there you go. So he personally asked Drew to play her part in Batman Forever. Drew said that he called her and said, I've created this character and it's really you and I want you to be in it. And of course she came running.
Aw.
And then Joel had a way with words. I'm impressed by him. Listen to this. He said, no one in the world was better suited to play Sugar. She's this great, delicious strawberry sundae. Incredible, very luscious and funny. I love it.
I can almost hear him saying it.
I know.
That is so cool. Okay, so then he also said about Drew, he said, Drew is this incredible combination. She is the most vulnerable, the most open, the most delicious, and the most sensitive child. And at the same time, for all the complex reasons in her life that she's managed to live with and conquer, she's one of the strongest, smartest, most actualized human beings that I've ever met. Come on.
So cool.
That's
Talk
really
about
sweet.
kind comments corner.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Oh. And then one more quote from Drew about Joel. She said, he's just been the kindest, most wonderful friend, and he's also the best person to work for. As a director, he's incredible to work with because he's a professional, an actor's director, and visually he puts everything completely out 100%. I think he has something unique from any other director I've ever worked with.
Aw.
I love this thing about visually putting out something
Mm-hmm.
because number one, this movie is so awesomely visual, and we'll talk about that. But our friends at Blockbuster Wives recently covered this back in March, and I was just listening to their episode, and one of the hosts, Shay, pointed out that he comes from a background of costume design and like art direction, which I didn't know. So I'm sure that played a huge part in the way this movie looks.
Yeah. And it's like practical because of the timeline. It's practical effects. It is so fun. I mean, we'll get into a little bit more into that, but like watch it if you want to have it's like the perfect popcorn movie.
Yeah, like eye candy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about Val Kilmer. So Val Kilmer is in the film Bruce Wayne and Batman. After Michael,
that's the same person.
Oops! Spoiler alert.
Oh my God! If you're Nicole Kidman in this movie, you have no idea. Anyway,
so Val Kilmer took that role after Michael Keaton dropped out. So I mean, Michael Keaton was an amazing Batman, but I really think Val Kilmer does an amazing job too.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that Val Kilmer has passed, and then I just want to say something about Val Kilmer. So like I think of him as a good actor, but I hadn't really watched him in much. And I recently watched Tombstone. Have you ever seen it?
Okay. No, I haven't.
Okay.
Which is just like, what, 2 years before this?
I don't actually know what year it came out.
I think so. Somewhere very early 90s.
Yeah. Actually, I'm just going to look. Tombstone.
You know me and knowing weird fucking years movies came out in the 90s. Never seen
1993.
Don't know much. Yeah, why do I know this stuff? It's so pointless.
It's like the timeline for your brain to have absorbed that, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I watched Tombstone and it was after he'd passed and I was like, damn, like everyone talks about how good this movie and how good an actor he is. And it's just like, he has all this range and in that, anyway, he's amazing in that.
That's cool.
Yeah. So when Val Kilmer passed in April 2025 this year, Drew said, I was friends with Joel Schumacher, the director, who I thought of this morning because it was he and Val Kilmer that pulled me into Batman Forever. And Val Kilmer was so nice to me. He was so nurturing and kind and safe, which was a very important thing for me.
Oh, I'm imagining her like getting that news and then she's thinking of Val and she's thinking of Joel and sad.
Yeah, that is really sad.
So, of course, after filming, rumors came out in the media that Drew and Val were having an affair. And like, they're totally unfounded. She has always strongly denied it. In fact, we just did that Movie Line 2003 article where the guy's like, oh, I saw you were linked to him. And she's like, nope, just a friend.
Yep.
She even approached his ex-wife once in an elevator to let her know that it was untrue. It's just crazy. And at the time, her assistant / co-founder of Flower Films, Kim Greitzer, said, I was with Drew every day on the Batman set, and I can say without a doubt that there's absolutely no truth to that. She's more in love with Eric than she's ever been with any man in her life. And Eric was her boyfriend at the time, Eric Erlandson of the band Hole, if you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to squash that.
Yeah, we're squashing it. But then oddly enough, there's this photo shoot that was done for Details magazine that was released in June 1995. And it's a photo shoot of just Val Kilmer and Drew. And it's really cool.
I know. He's on the cover.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I knew
but
that.
There's just this one tiny picture where she's included. Why? Don't know.
Don't know. And before, I think relatively recently, or maybe it was a while ago, I don't know, we hadn't seen anything but this one image where Val Kilmer is like appears upside down and it looks like Drew's like propping him up. I'm sure we'll put it in the episode gallery because it's really cool.
Yeah, we'll have to. You're right. I missed that one when I did. I already made the gallery, but I'll have to put this one in there. I forgot it.
I mean, it's just such a cool picture. Like, I think I've never not thought it was cool. Like I haven't gotten bored of it.
I just want to say those were taken by Albert Watson, who did also Drew's shoots for Details in 93 and
I was just going to say, that name sounds familiar. So cool.
Maybe he's just like, I know Drew. I'll have her come do this. I don't know. It's random. Yeah. She didn't do like promo for this movie officially. She didn't do like the press junkets. She went on some talk shows because she was promoting a lot at this time. Yeah. But it was always like, oh, well, you're in the new Batman movie. It wasn't like she was there for that purpose. So it's very interesting. Maybe Albert Watson can tell us.
Maybe so. But yeah, we've since seen one outtake.
Yeah. Our friend Kent has I think it's a slide of this really cool picture of them standing in front of a wall. Yeah.
It's really cool.
And I think, I hope I'm not wrong, but definitely Albert talked about where this was taken. And I want to say it was the Chelsea Hotel, but I'll double check on that.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. All right. Yeah. Going back to the cast.
Yeah, let's go back to the cast. So Tommy Lee Jones plays Two-Face. And so Drew has quite a few scenes with him. Well, actually, she really only has one if you think about it. And Drew and Debbie Mazar, who we'll talk about in a second, they were talking on the Drew Barrymore show in 2024 about what a grump he was. And this is just too funny. We have to include Drew talking about this.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
Tommy Lee Jones is always so grumpy and intense.
He was a grump.
and intense. He was so intense, and we were like his malls.
Yeah, Tommy wasn't having it. Like, and
not at all.
I'm like his worst nightmare. I'm like, oh my God, Tommy Lee Jones, I love you. And he gave me a lot of side eye.
I can totally imagine that. Picture it. Yes. Like 100% I could picture it. Plus Drew's like having it up, like literally dancing, like, when she's talking about that.
Probably had her feather boa.
Yes.
Watching his parts with the subtitles on, which, I'm not a big subtitles person, but I was like, it was necessary for the environment I was watching this in. It was so funny because he does all these really goofy sounds in a lot of his scenes. And so the subtitles are just like, ha, 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 or like, ooh, ah.
And because I like looked at the notes before I started it, I like paid particular attention and I was cracking up. Like the sounds alone are funny, but you're right that the captions do add to it. So if you're listening and you're going to watch it, which I think it's currently streaming on something.
HBO Max, whatever they're calling themselves today.
I think they're back to calling themselves HBO Max, which I'm like, so too. Good, because I always just called you HBO.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you gotta do the subtitles on. I agree. All right, so let's just get in a little about Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
He's definitely like the star of the film, right? Like steals the show.
Yeah, and I think it's like the perfect role for him.
And it's like peak Jim Carrey. I was like thinking in my mind, and then I like read again. So the year before was Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask. So it's like Jim Carrey is like the guy.
Okay.
Like he was the highest paid actor in Hollywood for a little while after this.
Wow.
I know. It's wild.
I mean, he's like it's like peak. It's peak Jim Carrey for like that timeline. Like I love Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, but that's like the other
very different.
The other Jim Carrey that was like not the 1990s Jim Carrey.
Yeah, not the really outrageous rubber faced. The cane work. Props to him for that cane work. I saw something where he talked about how he just did it over and over and over and would like destroy them constantly. And it's like when he needs another cane, but it really pays off. It's very impressive.
Yeah. There's lots of like, of course, physical, of
course,
physicality.
Yeah. I also saw something, I think it was maybe Joel Schumacher talking about how it might feel like he was improvising a lot, but it mostly was like on the page, and there was so much like continuity that they had to get right that he really did have to do the same thing like over and over again and get it the same. And he just is that talented to make it feel like he was coming up with it on the spot, which is really pretty interesting.
It is interesting. And it's, yeah, like this, I'm not like a huge fan of this type of acting, like generally, but it's perfect for this. And it's perfect for things like The Mask, you know, like it's perfect for some of the roles that he played. Like it makes sense. So Drew has admitted to having a crush on him. And she didn't really get to engage with him too much because he was like in character on set the whole time. So she's like, you know, she didn't really get to see him as the human Jim Carrey.
She was still probably like, ooh, I get to be his girl.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
She also has said that like being there for his performance was like watching art unfold before your eyes. So, super cute.
Yeah, that is really cute. All right, so I love this picture you dropped in here, by the way.
That's like a new find on the internet. It just came out like in the last year. Really cool picture of the cinematographer, Drew and Debbie and Jim, and then Joel in the middle. We'll share that in the gallery. I think I already put it in there.
That's really cool. All right, so who else? Because there's a bunch of big names in this.
Oh my gosh. So we'll briefly talk about Nicole Kidman as Chase Meridian. She is bananas in this movie. Firstly, though, I was like, I don't think Drew has ever spoken about working with her, which is kind of surprising, right?
They must have just really not engaged with each other or something.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, do they even share any scenes? But they do. They have that scene at the party. They don't like talk to each other in it, but they would have been on set together.
Right.
So I don't know, just thought that was like notable for some reason.
And like I could easily, not super easily, but like somewhat easily forget because there hasn't been like recalling it or discussing it in like whatever later years. All right, so let's get into the very fun. I think this is fun. Chris O'Donnell as Robin. It's hilarious. Like it's hilarious. So Drew and Chris O'Donnell had just filmed Mad Love together. It was literally released like a few weeks before this film. And they don't share any screen time together in it, but there are like a couple little things worth talking about regarding his performance.
Yeah, it does make me like a little sad that they're never together in the movie, but because he is like Mad Love to me, like that's what I know him forever, and he's such a like dork in Mad Love.
Yeah,
I had a really hard time like having him be this cool character.
So I did too, but I also was like, he's pulling it off.
Yeah, I think it's more because I just associate him with Mad Love.
Me too. I mean, I don't even think I've really watched him in anything else. Like I know he's been like a bunch of like on TV for a long time, like in like police shows and whatever, but I will always think of him as the character in Mad Love for sure. So watching him in this, I was like, he's being a little too cool. Like
okay, we both felt the same way.
Yeah. So it was a little too like, wait, why can he do that?
Like, you mean, why can he flip his laundry around like of some kind of weird martial artist? Oh my God, that scene.
But it also was like, that those things are not getting dry.
No.
They were like hung up all funky after that. But yeah, he literally is doing karate with his laundry. Just another, to show his acrobatic skill.
I guess so, yeah.
I'll just say one more thing because I don't think we're going to talk about like his character development all. But like, so he's like literally an acrobat. He and his family are like the Graysons. Is that what their names are?
Trapeze artists.
Yeah. So they're like literally, there's this amazing like thing where they're showing them like do their performance. And then because like, is it Two-Face that like comes and like tries to take over the circus, basically does completely take over the circus tent. And then his entire family dies.
Yeah.
Like tragically dies.
But the funny part is that when they pan to his face, seeing all his dead family, he makes the exact same face that he makes in Mad Love when Drew pulls a gun on him. Spoiler.
Please tell me you pulled a screenshot.
I didn't, when we've always laughed about that together. So, all right, I'll pull a screenshot.
I mean, I don't know. What face would you make if you had a gun pulled on you?
True.
I don't know.
It's appropriate, but we always laughed about it. So when it came up in this movie, I was like, pause, text Jan.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our girl. Yes. So Drew is Sugar in this film. She is the light side of Two-Face's little girls. And Debbie Mazar is Spice, the dark side. Very literal splitting of the two.
Yep.
Originally, their characters were named Leather and Lace, but that was deemed to be a little too racy by the studio. So their names had to be changed to the PG-13 version. And their names are never said in the film, which is kind of funny and sort of sad. But the script versions like that came out as they were filming, you see it change. So it changed during production, but funnily enough, some magazine like must have gone to print before it changed, and it actually does caption them as Leather and Lace, which is fun.
Oh, that is kind of fun. I was actually wondering, so like these characters didn't exist before this like was written. Okay. Yeah. So it's like anything that came out about it was like post the film. That's so
totally
interesting.
I know.
Okay. So this is like about kind of the development of the character. So Drew said, Joel knows how much I love Marilyn Monroe. And I said, let's do a tribute to her. Sugar's like this glitter-dipped Marilyn, and it is a tribute. You can only do things like that with an icon like Marilyn. You should never try to copy her because she can't be copied. If you listen to the last episode, this was in that too, but it's completely 100% relevant in both cases.
Yeah, I know, which I love. So while I was watching, I kind of noticed that her look and her vibe, and very much so the set design of the Sugar side of Two-Face's hideout, was super giving me Jean Harlow in Dinner at 8. And I even started pulling pictures, and I was like, oh, like there's no way this wasn't a reference. Like it's so similar to the set design with the feathers and the lamps and the bed.
Right.
Yeah. White.
I mean, we have to just say also like that Drew's family's in Dinner at 8, right? John Barrymore's in Dinner at 8. Okay.
John and Lionel.
That's right. Anyway, so continue because it's really cool.
I should definitely mention that. So I found a quote where Joel Schumacher kind of like backs up my hunch, because he said he wanted Sugar to be, quote, Drew Barrymore meets Marilyn Monroe meets Jean Harlow meets those naughty Vargas pinup girls. So
Perfect.
I was like, yes, I saw that influence, and there it is. So that was fun.
It's very like, it's like the same, like, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Drapey white.
Yeah, but like like visual textural, like they're like it's like in multiple layers of like similarities for sure.
And she even wears like feather and glitter in that movie. Like it's there for sure. I love Jean Harlow. I think that's the movie I want to watch for the Patreon Barrymore movie. So we'll get to enjoy that together. We'll talk about it then. And then this last little thing is that I saw Joel said Debbie got the part when she sent pictures of herself dressed as Betty Page. So that's sort of like Drew's like the blonde bombshell, and then Debbie's like the more dark, naughty whip toting lady. So
perfect.
They're so fun together in this movie.
Yeah, it's really fun. I wish we could see more of them. Like
totally. We should have. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. It is their dichotomy is really fun. So the roles were expanded from what was originally only to be like a 2 to 3 day cameo. Early versions of the script only feature Sugar and Spice at Two-Face's lair, which is the first scene. The party scene and the final showdown at Riddler's lair didn't include them in earlier versions. That's interesting and like cool.
I know, we're so lucky that they went, wait a minute, these girls are cool, put them in there.
Yeah. So Drew, rather than thinking of it as a cameo, she called the small part as a like co-star, which that works really well.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah.
Drew said about Sugar, I think that Sugar is just a very pure, angelic, evil, delicious creature. She represents the good side of Two-Face, but the good side of Two-Face is still evil. And she also had said that Debbie gave her so much confidence when they were filming. And she said, we get along really well. We're easygoing. We laugh a lot, and it's not fake. We really do genuinely like each other, which is nice.
That's cool. That's really cool. Drew loves her female relationships, right?
Yeah, totally.
And wants that like build up on each other, like give each other confidence. Like that's the exactly type of relationship she wants with her co-stars.
Or Coco stars.
Coco stars, yeah. She said when we met, it was like, whoa, we're going to do this great and we're going to have fun and look as cool as we can for Joel's movie. Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh, so sweet.
Yeah, so sweet. A few years later, Debbie was offered the part as Holly on The Wedding Singer, which we found out when she was on the show, on Drew's show, not on our show. And she regretted turning it down. That movie ended up, Wedding Singer was a huge success.
So that's so interesting to just imagine how she would have played that part.
Right. I can't picture it because Christine Taylor is so good. You know, but it's still fun to imagine. We always like thinking about cast differences.
Totally.
And then Drew and Debbie Mazar reunited on this first season of Hollywood Squares, which was also really fun to see.
Oh, I know that picture of them together. I was like, oh, if Debbie just had turned her head towards Drew, it would have been the perfect little callback to their photo shoot.
Totally.
But it's still awesome. So just a quick couple little credits. The key makeup artist was V. Neal, and Drew has called her a Hollywood legend, which she is. So Drew has sort of simpler makeup than some of the other cast members. She's got a lot of glitter, a lot of jewels like me today. But she said even that took 1 to 2 hours in the makeup chair every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of more intense makeup. If you're watching this film,
totally.
You're
Tommy Lee Jones, no wonder he was so grumpy.
That had to have taken hours and hours and hours. Nuts. All right, so the key hairstylist was Yolanda Tusing. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. There's an exhibit of wigs that she's worked with at the Academy Museum. I think I can picture that exhibit. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to actually picture which wig I think there's.
I know.
Did she do Mrs. Doubtfire?
Yeah, and then Batman and Robin, the Poison Ivy red wig is there.
That's
and I
right.
think Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Beetlejuice. Yeah. So I remember distinctly seeing Beetlejuice and Mrs. Doubtfire. Anyway,
pretty cool.
So very cool. So Drew's hair in this film is a really curly platinum blonde wig. You point out it's not that much different than the woo-woo bouncy of her hair earlier in the year that is featured really prominently in Boys on the Side.
I know. I wonder, was that inspired in any way? Maybe not, but it's kind of fun that, it's a couple months apart.
Yep, totally. And it's a very, very platinum, perfect blonde color.
I know, it's gorgeous. So it's unclear to me if V and Yolanda themselves worked specifically on Drew. Mm-hmm. And there's some notes that we'll get to a little bit later about why I think maybe they didn't, but they were the key. So they're the head of the department. Mm-hmm. But costume designer Ingrid Farron, she did do Drew's costumes. And you came up with this really cool quote from a book you have, which I was so excited to include this. So Ingrid said, I wanted to make Sugar and Spice sexy without it being tacky or trashy or exposing body parts. I just wanted the lines of the costumes to leave everything up to the imagination. Joel wanted Drew Barrymore's Sugar to be just the color of cream, all the soft and delicate things in life.
Such a good quote.
I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect to because she's basically wearing lingerie.
Yeah, I mean corsets and stockings.
But it isn't that revealing. That's true.
No.
Yeah. Drew said, I had never worn clothes like that before or since. We were very corseted.
And she was even asked on the red carpet, oh, everyone's complaining about their costumes. What did you think? And I thought this was fun, what she said.
No, my costumes are incredible. They're beautiful. They were, with decadence does not always come comfort, but you know what? You got to just live with it for it.
I with decadence does not always come comfort. That's such a 95 Drew thing to say.
It is. I feel that's very I love the dictionary.
Yeah.
I don't know. So in our previous episode, we mentioned that her clothing in the party scene is pretty much almost definitely inspired by Marilyn's dress from the Life magazine shoot from 1952. When you put the photo side by side, it's it's
undeniable.
It's pretty much undeniable. There are multiple elements ruched arms on the sleeves that are off the shoulder, a silvery, sparkly brooch that it's in a different spot in a different shape.
Yeah, I love that her brooch in Batman Forever is a butterfly. That was intentional, right?
I mean, it it has to be. It has to be. Yeah, the same way that like Drew's bedroom in Mad Love is covered in butterflies.
Yeah, I mean, she'd just gotten done filming that, and probably she had just gotten her tattoo earlier this year too, so she was in a big butterfly phase.
Yeah, that is cool to like think all of those things. I mean, we always associate them with her, but it's like it's cool that it's also in the
really
films.
at this time.
Yeah, for sure.
So principal filming began in September 1994. I thought this is always fun to me. They had a code name for the movie. They do that sometimes to throw people off their track, and it was called Blinko. Like, what does that mean?
It starts with a B. Other than that,
So Drew filmed in Los Angeles for sure in November 1994. That's when the party film was seen.
I was 10.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. And then she also filmed again in January 1995. So like I said, that was new to me that she was still filming.
Yeah.
And filming went on until March 95, 3 months before this movie came out. That is so fast.
That's nuts. I mean, it had to be like just like little reshoots, but still like.
Yeah. I mean, the editing for this could not have gone quickly, but I guess it did. I don't know. This is wild.
That's wild.
Because this is a huge movie.
Yeah. But it was probably like so huge that like there was no way they were going to push like a date back.
True.
You know, they just throw some more people on it, put some more money into it.
Yeah.
That's so fun. Now that we've kind of talked about the development, this film coming to be, let's talk about the movie itself a little bit.
Yeah, this is sort of different because we're not going to go through the whole movie, you know, like we're here for a girl, but overall, like it's super cheesy. Like you just have to accept that, right?
Yep.
But like in a great 95 way, I should mention, so this is the summer before I went into high school. And this is when I first got MTV. So I was like the peak demographic for this movie.
Yeah.
I fully knew about it. I will talk about the music videos later on, but they were like inundating in my life. And so and just to be like 13 years old in this, it's like such a pivotal time in your life, right? So I was taken back, like just from the music or the visuals. It was like, oh, I'm back to that time in my life. So I have like a soft spot for it for being from 95.
Yeah.
But all that aside, like I think the scale of this movie is really cool, and you just don't see it that much anymore, to have like humongous practical sets on studios. And I love all the neon lights in this movie. I'm a big neon light girl. Hundreds of extras, you know, they're not like computer generated.
Yes.
The costumes and wigs for everyone, not just Drew, are so elaborate and so fun. Like, I mean, Debbie Mazar's looks are rad.
Yeah, they are. And they're like very like beautifully orchestrated, like all detailed. Yeah.
Yes. Like metal skulls on these like leather corsets. Oh my God. And like Jim Carrey's outfits are all incredible.
So cool.
Like his hair at the end is like this crazy, like his hair evolution in this movie makes zero sense, but it's so fun to see.
Just one other thing about the costumes about like Jim Carrey's, like as the Riddler, I was like noticing, like I was just like looking at the question marks and that they were like swayed on, I don't know. It just looked really cool for something that is like not a cool outfit, you know? Like,
so like, detailed. I know, like even that part where he's wearing like the mask and like one of the eyes becomes the question mark. Did you notice that? Like the dot is on his face, but the mask makes the question mark. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
So all the visuals, again, like it really takes me back to this time. Like it actually, well, I'm jumping the gun here, but it got nominated for Best Cinematography. Like there's beautiful shots in this movie.
That's cool.
But for me, there's definitely a lot of stuff that made no sense in the story. Like the moment where like Robin wants to join up and Batman just out of nowhere is like, I'm quitting being Batman. I was like, what? Like that came out of nowhere.
It's like, no, you can't. I want to be your sidekick, so you have to.
Like there's definitely a couple things where I was like, okay, we're just gonna like
they're just throwing in they're throwing in a little conflict. Like I was not paying attention to the plot.
Yeah, and like the whole stuff with Nicole Kidman's character, she was really throwing me. Every scene I was like, what is happening with you, lady? Like, she's in love with Batman after talking to him for 3 seconds, and she's like throwing herself at him. And then she's like hanging out with Bruce, even though her heart belongs to Batman. She never knows they're the same. Like, she's supposed to be brilliant. I'm like, girl.
She doesn't know they're the same until she kisses Batman, and then Bruce comes over, and then she kisses Bruce, and then then there's an emergency. At that point, yes.
I don't think she knew it. I think she went, oh, I actually don't want Batman. I want Bruce. Batman was the old me, and now I'm grown up, and I'm ready for Bruce instead. Not, I know you're both.
I feel like
he goes to tell her when she gets kidnapped. He's going to tell her. She's over at his house, and he's like, there's something I have to tell you. And she's like, I don't want to hear you. I just want to jump on top of you and make out with you. And then she gets kidnapped. And I think that's how she finds out.
Am I thinking of something right after that? Is it at the exact same moment that like they come in to capture? Anyway. Anyway.
She was wild to me. I was having
I mean, I was like, all of my disbelief was, you know.
Yeah. I mean, even the thing of like, she sees that he identifies the Rorschach as a bat, but she's just like, doesn't think about it. But then when the Riddler and Two-Face see he's thinking about bats, they're like, now we know he's Batman for sure. Which, like, yeah, I think if you put the pieces together, you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's him.
But I also think it's actually really funny that what he's thinking about is just a bat flying. I love it.
Literally.
I love it so much. So I just have to say, like, I felt like the campiness of this was akin to Charlie's Angels. And like, it was, you know, the colorfulness, the like cheesiness, the fun, like, yeah, I felt it a few times.
I had the exact same thought many times. And also like how Charlie's Angels is always like, oh, don't pay attention to the story, just have a lot of fun watching it. I was like, yep, see it. Like, yeah, it's kind of fun. And it's like neat that we both came away with that comparison.
Yeah, like, but it makes sense. They have like, they're like kind of in the, not in the same genre, but are like Charlie's Angels films are not supposed to be taken super seriously. They're supposed to be fun.
Campy, outrageous action.
You're meant to come out of it like feel good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that you pulled the screenshot of this. So Drew's credit at the beginning of the movie is by itself on the screen, which is so neat because like the next time they show credits, it's like Debbie Mazars along with like 2 other names. So
yeah, I think it's really like notable. I'm sure that I've seen, not for this movie, but for other movies, I've seen the contracts.
I was just going to
go
say
into these. It's very like mindfully decided whose name goes where and how. So I'm sure for her to have like earned this spot at this time in her career, she was not like, yes, she had 3 movies come out, boom, 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 but she was still not, you know, she didn't have the pull. She wasn't A-list at this point, let's call it. So I think this was a get.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also like she, if Joel like was like pulling her into the film, it might have been like, oh, like we see that you are a big star. We want to use your power for the film. You know, like, I don't know. It's fun to think of that.
So originally, in the original script, there was an earlier scene with Two-Face that introduces Sugar and Spice at his lair, but it was deleted from the final shooting script, so I don't think this was ever filmed. And it makes sense because it's very similar to what we do get in the movie, so it's almost like they merged the original introduction with the second one into this one. It's much cleaner, so it's just them kind of doing the same, like, oh, I'm the light side and I'm the bad side, talking to Two-Face. It's very similar.
It is very similar. I love the description in this script, though, of quote unquote lace. So it says Lace, a submissive blonde in Victoria's Secret's lacy best, nuzzles his good side and pets a white kitten.
She does have that little like doggy purse at the party, like fluffy white doggy purse.
Yeah, so she does. She does. So that's kind of fun. Okay, and then here we are at the first appearance of Drew in the film, 52 minutes in.
It's crazy that it's that far in. Maybe it would have been more sense to be a little earlier, but no, I guess not. I guess originally it was going to be, but we need to have the Riddler have established himself as the Riddler, because the whole beginning of the movie, he's going through his journey to get there.
Yeah,
what am I going to call myself? What am I going to wear?
And it's all fun.
It is really fun.
Surprisingly fun. So Here we are at Two-Face's hideout, which is such a cool set. And I love that you acquired this photograph of the set, like, lit up.
I know. I was just like hoping to find pictures of the sets, and this one was on IMDb for like a welder who worked on the movie. He had uploaded it. It's so neat.
It's so neat because it's like the whole background is split, like dark and light.
And
so it's pretty cool to see that.
I did see somewhere that that's actually pulled from the comics, that Two-Face's place was always split down the middle like that. So I like that little homage.
Yeah, and there's so many times throughout the film where he's like smoking 2 cigarettes.
Yeah.
He has like 2 drinks. It's like kind of like, it's really funny. I kind of laughed every time. I'm like, I'm so glad they're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, they don't stop. Okay, so let's talk about Drew.
So Two-Face is like monologuing to himself, I guess, to the girls. I love how he's always like us. He's talking about himself as 2 people throughout the whole movie. But I love Drew's there to give him a cigarette on one side. And I love how she like swishes her robe around in this scene. Like she's wearing just like we said, lingerie, this like see-through feathery robe. And she's like really making the most of it. She has all these like sparkly jewels all over her. There's the glitter dipped that she called herself. She looks like an angel. She looks so beautiful in this.
She looks really beautiful, and you can tell she's having fun.
Oh,
you know, like the like swishing of the shoulders
very
is
like
so fun.
vampy, you know, she's like living out her fantasy here.
Yep. And this is so cool. So the wig is styled differently than it is in the promo shoot, which I feel like I'm like most familiar with the promo shoot. So it's really neat.
Yeah, and she's wearing the outfit she wears in the promo pictures, but she's got this cute little like sparkly bow that's pulling her hair back, which it's adorable.
Yep, it is really adorable. And then there are only a couple lines here.
Yeah, but she definitely makes the most out of them. Like, I just love her delivery, her whole vibe in this. She does so great with this little bit that she has to do.
Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and play just this bit because we gotta just like soak it in. It's really, really fun.
Don't worry, baby. You'll kill him soon. Besides, I made your favorite tonight. Sparkling champagne and yummy poached salmon with little itty-bitty quail eggs and a creamy, dreamy lemon souffle.
I can hear the Tommy Lee Jones sounds.
I think there's something really, I think it's just the like cracking of her voice that I'm like, that's 1994 or 5 Drew. Like you can hear it. I don't know.
She almost had this like, I don't want to say this, but almost like put on accent sometimes around this era. It also reminds me of when she's at the 98 Oscars presenting and she's like, as the role demands. Like it's very much the same sort of voice.
Like almost Shakespearean a little bit. Like she's just calling upon her ancestors in a mild way.
So then the Riddler pops in and he's like, who are you? How'd you find us? It doesn't really make any sense, but whatever, just go with it. And there's a lot of Two-Face and the Riddler back and forth up in each other's faces. And I was like, oh, just watching that scene, I could definitely see that like they didn't get along or drove, like Tommy Lee Jones did not like Jim Carrey and like thought he was a buffoon. That's like a much quoted thing. And yeah.
Like he said that?
Jim Carrey has said that like he met him right before filming. And the quote was from Tommy Lee Jones, I cannot sanction your buffoonery. And I felt it watching this. I was like, oh, they're almost trying to like outdo each other. And it's
out buffoon each other.
Fun.
Also, like, it's just funny to imagine like the reason he was grumpy in the makeup chair. Cause he's like,
I got to work with this clown.
But also like, you literally have to act like a clown too.
Totally.
So just because someone else is like a clown in a different way and they're more like.
I did see something else where Jim Carrey was like, you know, you got to bring this almost childlike wildness to this part. And he was like, I don't know how Tommy's going to do with that. Like, because he was so grumpy and serious, maybe. But I think he brought it.
I think he brought it too. I think he just probably was just on for only the camera or something, you know? So in this scene, I love they like keep kind of flashing back to Sugar and Spice a couple of times.
They're loving this.
Yeah, they're loving it. And there's a conversation that ends up happening where the Riddler and Two-Face are talking about killing Batman. And then they like look over to Sugar and Spice and like Drew just has the cutest little smirk. Like there's a couple times in this movie where she's like reacting to violence.
Yeah.
And she's like loving it.
I might be good, but I'm still evil.
Yep. And then like this scene kind of, I guess, culminates in both Sugar and Spice being attached to the like 3D TV mind control device, and they show, you know, Drew like being mind controlled, and it's so like weirdly cute.
It is. She's watching like a little cartoon of like a Cupid, right? And then Spice is
so
watching
cute.
like a Tom and Jerry with like flames that looks like it's in hell or something.
I don't think I like really looked at what they were watching. Like I was too busy looking at their faces.
I just realized as I said that, isn't Tom and Jerry Warner Brothers? I bet that's like why they have the rights
Probably.
to do it. That's funny. I could be
That
wrong.
would make a lot of sense. Warner Brothers, yeah, it's on the Warner Brothers website. So you are correct.
And that's pretty much it with their first scene.
Mhm.
But there were some early script drafts that had one more small little scene that does end up making its way into the comic adaptation, which is cool. So you can see like some visuals that were imagined for it, but it takes place after the Riddler and Two-Face go on this crime spree to get money. And now they're his the box, I guess, is his device. It's now like got funding. So anyway, they're all sitting around, all four of them on a couch, and they're like getting high, like taking hits off the device. And my thought was they probably cut that out of the script. Like, we're not going to do this because there is like a drug use innuendo, and they were going for more PG-13, as we said.
Yep. But like, you can still make that connection that like just a couple of them are junkies.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
They're junkies for something. All right. So should we go to Drew's next scene?
Yes, party time.
Okay, so this was filmed the month I was 10 years old, November 1994, at the Pantages Theater in LA. That's cool to know.
Yeah. The only like behind the scenes kind of set photos of Drew on this movie are from this scene. And then I was thinking that makes sense because this is actually on location and all the other scenes are in studio.
That makes sense.
So the paparazzi was out there getting her. I mean, these pictures of her in that costume, but covered up with like a little jacket. And she's got, of course, I'm going to assume iced tea in a cup. Like,
yep. It looks like it.
I love these pictures.
I think I have a couple of these like printed,
Me too.
like 4x6s. Yeah.
They're so
They're
cool. There's just something about the juxtaposition of her all dolled up like this.
In like real life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, she's so beautiful in this scene. I know we said that in the last scene. She's just glittery, glowing, gorgeous. All the G's in this part. And I was thinking, like, I bet she was excited. She's like, so she comes to the party as Edward Nygma. He's, you know, again, Batman doesn't put it together that the Riddler and Edward Nygma are the same guy. Just go with it. So she's like his date, you know, undercover working for this little party so that she can be there to cause trouble and help him out.
Yep.
She just does, like we said before, she just does great with these like subtle reactions to what's going on in the scene. Like, she's just like making all these cute little faces, and she loves all the shenanigans that are going down, and she's just living it up.
Oh, Eddie, he is too cute. How come you don't look so good in that suit?
Shut up. You're here to work. How's my mole?
Fine.
Mr. Wayne, what about...
She's loving Batman too, or Bruce Wayne, I guess. There's a lot of double identities in this film.
Yes, there are. And I'm sorry if I didn't reply to you saying like she was so excited to be on like Jim Carrey's arm, because I was thinking about her crush when I was watching it. Like,
me
just
too.
like how extra fun that would make it when you're like standing like next to a clown, like you know, I don't know, a clown man.
And then, you know, she gets to meet Bruce Wayne, and she's flirting with him because that's her character and that's what she does.
I think it's really fun how she reacts to Bruce Wayne.
I'm Bruce Wayne, miss.
Oh, You can call me anything you want.
That's just a callback to the beginning of our episode.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing, guys, if you didn't know. I love that part. And then she's kind of, again, like we said, she's sort of like there to be sort of sneaky and work things. So Riddler takes Chase off to dance, which again, I'm like, why is she so willing to go with this guy? It's super weird. It just makes sense to me. She's crazy. But then that allows Sugar to like, come over and let's get Bruce Wayne to go into the box room that's on the side of this party.
Uh-huh. And that I gotta play this clip too because I think it's so fun. So like he's like lured over somehow. He's looking at the machine. And it's so silly, this whole thing, because he's like, oh, like how do you turn it off? Then she like very like seductively like takes it out and like puts it into her clothing.
Naughty, naughty. Looking for something?
Well, I was just wondering how you turn it off.
Looking for something.
And I think that's her last line in the movie. I don't think she has any dialogue after this.
I think you're right.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that scene, and then he walks in there, and then she powers it back on.
Yeah.
Like, do we believe that like Bruce Wayne, Batman, would like be that foolish?
I mean, like I said, he didn't put it together that the Riddler was Edward Nygma after he like accosted him at work and clearly lost his mind in front of him. Anyway, so sadly, Two-Face and Spice come in, and we don't see Drew anymore in this scene. I was like, oh, Spice is here now. Bye, Drew. But there was a small scene that was filmed here, and it's of Sugar and Spice basically like escaping after all hell breaks loose.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like fighting happening, and Sugar and Spice rush to the elevator, not in time. And Sugar says, "We got to vacate and fast. Where are the stairs?" And Spice says,
30 stories in these heels? Pretend I'm flipping open a portable phone. I know a guy with a helicopter. Okay, so I didn't realize like these pictures are of that being filmed.
Yeah. And so for a while I would see these pictures and I'm like, is this a cut scene or is Debbie just like on her personal phone and they're standing on the set? But then I was like, this is 94. Like, how many people had a phone this size? Like, it probably was made up for the movie that she had a little phone like this because it's very tiny.
That is so funny. I love that kind of stuff.
And this comes up again in the other scene that's cut in a minute we'll talk about. But this very, like, the exact same beats are hit. So Sugar and Spice, like, escaping because Spice apparently has this whole side life where she knows guys that can do things. Sugar, I guess, doesn't have the same connections.
Sugar just wants to like lounge.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm just like picturing like the Grand Hotel photos
Totally.
of like Jean Harlow in her bed, and like that's what Sugar does.
Eating delicious things in bed. Yeah.
Lemon souffle.
Lemon souffle. Creamy, dreamy.
I'm just gonna replace all the clips of Drew talking with you. All right, so let's get to the final showdown at Riddler's lair, and this is Drew's last scene.
Yeah,
this is basically like the end, right?
Pretty much the end of the movie. Yeah.
This part was filmed in mid-January of 1995, which you just found out because of that information you got from
Schumacher.
That's so cool. And this was filmed on a stage at Warner Brothers, stage 16.
It's not neat to know that.
I love it.
I even like went and looked at pictures of it and I was like, that's so cool.
That's really cool. I love like how if you go to like a studio, sometimes it'll say like what has been filmed inside them.
Totally.
And then like inside the studios, it's just a big open room.
Yeah, it's like
they
a
just
warehouse.
Like build stuff in there. Exactly. So there's no like usually no remnants of like, things that have been filmed there. It's neat.
That 1995 Batman, they have a YouTube and there was one video that I really liked, but unfortunately I was hoping for like weird little random on-set Drew footage. They didn't have any, but they have this whole video of like B-roll from the movie behind the scenes. And there was one of them building like the Riddler's lair that's like a dome shape. So it was neat to like see that and then see the stage and like put it all together. It's really cool.
That's really cool.
These sets are so elaborate. Like the actual Batcave was so big, they couldn't do it on a stage. They had to use the Howard Hughes spruce goose that's like in Is it Long Beach?
I think it was in Long Beach. I think it's now in like Portland, Oregon or something.
Okay.
Why do I?
Yeah, that's where
I
they
don't know.
put the Bat Cave. Like they had to build it inside something like that.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because for something like that to be practical, I like don't even think about that when something's like actually large.
I know.
Like, and it's, the movie is like, it like you're dropped right into these like fully realized spaces.
Yeah.
It's really cool. All right, so let's talk about Drew.
Okay, so this is her final scene. So I saw something somewhere that described this as like game show assistant, which I think was fun because Riddler's got Chase and Robin like locked up, and Batman has to decide who to save. And both Sugar and Spice are like, ta-da, like kind of Vanna Whiting.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even get to talk. But she makes some cute little faces, like a little da 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 no 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 face, and like she's like shimmying and enjoying all this chaos that's going on.
Yeah, the little like tisk tisk finger wave is really cute. And then she quickly is gone. Like
yeah, freaking Batman, he explodes. The box is like epicenter, I think. And so everything's like going crazy and blowing up, and Sugar and Spice are like, and run off. And that's all we see. But
I do love the like screams. Yeah. Like that's really fun too. But yeah, let's talk about like some deleted stuff.
Yes. So there was a little scene here of Sugar and Spice escaping. And I think it was definitely filmed. It's even like on the shooting schedule that I was able to see. And it was so cool. I think it's probably cut because it is very much calling back the other scene that was cut. So Sugar and Spice stand together, backed by a smoke-filled world of sparks and flames. And Sugar says, which I can't see this working in this dialogue, "Girl, can you swim?" She probably wouldn't have said it like that. Girl.
Yeah. And Spice says, "And ruin this hair? Hell no." Back on her cell phone. "I know a guy with a yacht."
And then they make for the access stairs. And I've also read that the novelization includes this, like, so that they get out of Gotham forever. It's like sort of what it says.
Oh, cute.
I know.
That's cute. Is the novelization basically like the comic novelization? Is that what you're referring to? Or like a
like an actual, written one. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Which we love. We've talked about this before. You can get a lot of information about what's cut out of movies if you read the novelization because they like worked off the script. Like Never Been Kissed, we pulled some stuff for, I remember, like quite a bit.
I didn't even like think about that you had done that for
that.
Like I forgot. And that's so weird.
And Charlie's Angels has some too. Whenever we get up the nerve to do that movie, I'll be pulling out the novelization.
That is so funny and weird. Like to think of like at what point those things are written and they're based on some early version of the script. Yeah. Like weird. All right, so let's get into the release and the legacy that continues for this film.
Yes.
Okay, so the promo shoot for like posters and other publicity was done by the famous photographer Herb Ritts. So cool. This photographer Herb Ritts, if you don't know, took Drew's famous profile photo.
The
profile picture, calling back to her famous family profile.
The Barrymore profile.
Here goes. Herb Ritts also did a photo shoot with Drew and the Angels for Vogue in 2000. So it's neat. Like, this is such a weird thing for Herb Ritts to have done.
I was reading he actually did at least some of the images for the first film, maybe the second one, and he did all the Batman and Robin ones too. So I guess he was just like the Batman
so it was like
guy.
A continuation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I know.
It's neat. So one of the photos of Sugar was used for the cover of Interview magazine that was released in May of 1995. So cute and so random.
So random. It doesn't fit with the feature inside at all because the feature is all Drew's personal photos. But I guess they're like, this is what she's promoting at the time. Let's throw her on the cover in one of these.
It's beautiful.
So pretty.
Yeah, like that, like purple backdrop is so fun with her like light. I don't know. It's gorgeous. If you haven't seen it, again, episode page, check out the Druseum. You got to see it. And the pictures inside are amazing. And we've done an episode on this, have we not?
We have an episode on it. Yep. So much we could say. But I do want to point out, so I was like, I just want to check the credits inside for this cover image. So the hair is credited to Kim Sant'Antonio. And weirdly enough, she was the key hairstylist on Blended for the Georgia filmed scenes, like not in Africa, but for the Georgia ones. So I was like, that's weird. But she does, like in more recent years, has done a lot of Nicole Kidman's wigs. So I thought that was fun.
Oh, funny.
And then makeup is credited to Cheryl Tack. And she was Jim Carrey's makeup artist on like tons of movies, like before and after this. So I'm like, I wonder if they did Drew, like Sugar specifically for the movie, like if they were the people assigned to her, or if they just did it for the promo shoot. Hard to say, but I feel like we should have put their names in there because they definitely did something with Sugar.
Yeah. All right. Should we jump into the world premiere?
Dude, we could probably do an entire episode on this premiere. This has got to be one of the most like star-studded red carpet events for like not an award show, for like a movie premiere ever. It's bananas how many. We can't get into it. Like there's so many people that went.
That's funny because I only think of Drew because her look is so iconic in this. So it took place in Westwood, where my school UCLA is, on June 9th of 1995. So we're, already in that 30 years ago realm. Drew attended the premiere with her boyfriend at the time, Eric Erlandson, and then both of her Flower Films partners, Nancy Devonin and Kim Greitzer, and Jane Pratt, because I think it must have just been because she was filming that segment for Extra, which is so cool.
So cool.
It's so neat. There's some really cool footage of Drew from that day getting ready at her house, which I think it's her house on Martel.
Yep.
Right? Driving through the McDonald's drive-through and getting like Batman collectible glasses that they had at the time, like ordering a
Happy Meal without meat.
Yeah. And then they go to film Tom Snyder, like all before heading to the premiere. So there's like, all this stuff in that one-on-one. That's so cool.
And I love that she's just like doing her own makeup in her bathroom. Like, even though this was a huge event, like, she's not like being styled by anyone. In fact, we have words from Drew herself.
We'll talk about that.
Second.
Yes, we do.
So there was a red carpet special for this. This is how big this was, that aired on E! And one of my friends from San Diego was visiting me at the time, and she was really into Batman, specifically the animated series, but she was like following this all really closely. So she wanted to watch the red carpet show. So I remember watching it. Like, I don't remember noticing Drew, sadly, at this time. I wasn't quite there yet, but I was very aware of this happening. And I like tried to find more footage of it while I was doing the research. And I was just seeing like so many people, like Cameron Diaz is there. Like, how cool. Do her and Drew ever cross paths? Who knows? Like, Adam Sandler's at the after party, and so Sarah Gilbert, like people that Drew really knew, and like, well, she didn't know Adam yet, but like, or would know. And there's like so many pictures. Like Chris O'Donnell just posted a cool one of a bunch of them at the premiere without Drew.
Cool.
Like, there's no pictures of Drew with anybody except the photographer Matthew Ralston, like inside the party, but. Yeah, there's so many people. I mean, Tom Cruise was married to Nicole Kidman at the time. He's there. Like, George Clooney is there. Like,
so huge.
Yeah. Like, if you guys are interested,
like every big star at the time.
Yeah, go to Getty Images and like look at who was there. It's beyond belief.
But let's just we can just have Drew tell us about her outfit, but we both absolutely love her. Just super simple. Like you said, she did her own makeup, and she admittedly dressed herself.
Yeah. I mean, real quick, if you're not familiar, just imagine this for a second, because you'll probably remember it. She's wearing two slips, one's pink and one's blue, and she's wearing them on top of each other. And she's got a little daisy in her pixie roots growing out hair, and a little like a heart on a string on her neck, and big cork-heeled sandals. And she's flashing her tattoos for sure at this as well.
Yes, she is. And it's just perfect.
I know. It's so 95 Drew.
It's so cool. So can you like lead us into like why we got this reply from Drew herself?
Yeah, I mean, who knows why? We must have just caught her on a day. She doesn't really seem to be using Instagram at all anymore, like personally using it, but this was at a moment where she was.
Okay.
And I posted like a selection of like 4 photos from this, just like, oh, we love this look, something like that. And she responded. And yeah, why don't you read it?
Okay, so Drew at Drewsium, that's us. She said, I bought those slips at Fredericks of Hollywood and put one on top of the other and threw on a pair of platforms from my closet and went to the premiere. I wasn't at the place where anyone dressed me, so I dressed myself for about $50. And I love the carefree style to this day. So cool.
So cool. At the time in 95, there's video of her telling Courtney Love that she got these slips from Playmates, which is like, for lack of a better word, like a stripper store in Hollywood. Yep. So I could definitely see her making the, mistake of one or the other. It doesn't really matter which one she got them from, but
same type of store. Like they both sell like probably mostly lingerie.
Exactly.
But adorable. Like it's so good. And I love that she calls it carefree. That's exactly what it is. Like it's exactly 1995.
So good. We will definitely have a few pictures from this in our gallery. Before I forget, my inspiration for my lower back tattoo came specifically from a magazine clipping from Spin magazine that showed her pulling down the back of her slip to show her back tattoo. And it was like, I have it here. Let me go. It's called the Drew tattoo. And that I was obsessed with it from that moment on.
That's so cool. Cause the placing is exact. I was also kind of thinking like the shape of your butterfly.
Yes.
Like-
I didn't think about that like intentionally at the time or anything, but it is fun to like the wings kind of go the same way.
Yeah, they do. It's so I was like looking at it. I'm like, at first, like I saw like your little note, inspo for my tat. And I was like, I know she means the placement, but I'm like really almost seeing your butterfly on Drew's back here. It's so fun. Okay, so let's just like touch a little bit on how much marketing there was for this film. I mean, things are marketed still, but like in a different way. So at the time, there was like tons of merch released for the movie, like action figures, trading cards, Pogs, which if you don't know what those are, like you got to look it up. Hopefully you listeners, like a lot of you listeners know, but 1990s.
Pogs.
Very specific, books and all kinds of stuff.
I mean, like we said, McDonald's was doing tie-ins. I think I saw like Six Flags had a whole thing going on. Like this was everywhere, which is interesting because I read a lot of things that said like they didn't expect it to be that big of a hit.
Okay.
They really like tried to make it one and were successful.
Marketed it that way.
Oh my God, everywhere. And for some reason, when I first became a Drewbie, I just had it in my head that there must be a sugar and spice action figures. Like I just decided that for no reason. And I remember like searching a lot on eBay for one, like expecting one would show up. I don't know where I got that idea.
So cool.
I know.
I wish there was. Yeah. Because I mean, I'm sure they're aware of like all the co-stars, but not the co-stars.
Yeah. Co-stars, you get it. The people whose names flash around in the front of the screen very, very dramatically at the beginning of the credits.
Yep.
They got action figures.
Yes, they got that. That was part of the like contract.
Yeah, there you go.
Flashy name and action figure. Okay, so the soundtrack you mentioned at the top of the episode was like hugely popular. So on this we have "Kiss from a Rose" by Seal, which is like still I think really widely known.
Oh yeah, and loved.
It was. Yeah, and loved. Yeah, so it was Billboard #4 single of the year and won Grammys the following year. And then we also have U2's song "Hold Me, Kiss Me." Sorry, too many words. "Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me," which was a huge hit too.
So, like I said, I was watching MTV nonstop at this time. These videos were on MTV and VH1 all the time. So much so that "Kiss from a Rose," my friend Clarice and I had like parts of the video that Seal would do, like with his hands. That we would do it, like we memorized it. I'm doing it right now. I still remember it. And the U2 one, my sisters and I had like jokes about some of the clips from that video. Like they were inundated. I even remember like being on a little trip with my friends from middle school, also back down in San Diego. and somebody having the soundtrack and like playing it. Like this was soundtracks just were a big deal back then.
Yep.
If you don't know, like if you didn't come around in this time, they were like a thing, and this one was a big thing.
Yeah, soundtracks I feel like were still kind of a big thing, like maybe through like the late 90s at least. Like I feel like I was like I had so many soundtracks.
Totally.
Like
and I loved them.
Me too. Me too. I feel like I can't even think of like what any of my favorites are. Maybe that's another episode where we don't talk about Drew stuff and we just talk about soundtracks we like just because.
Mad Love. That's a good one.
It is a good one. All right. So the movie was released in the US on June 16th of 1995. So happy 30-year anniversary to Batman Forever.
30th anniversary. I love that we timed this so well. This is coming out on the 17th, but still close enough.
This movie was a huge box office hit. It's interesting that it was unexpected.
I know.
So at the time, it held the record for having the highest opening weekend gross of all time.
Wild.
So it was the top grossing movie of 1995 domestically, and it made more than $184 million domestically and $336 million worldwide, which those numbers like almost don't mean anything to me, but that's still like, I know it's a lot of money.
Yeah, especially when you like look at the other movies from that year, it's just bananas. And how cool for Drew to be in the #1 movie of the year. Like, you guys don't understand where her career was at this point. This was huge.
Yep, it was big.
Really gave her some like cred, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it had to. Like if nothing else, it was like, you know, boosting her already like
rising
I don't know.
Star.
Exactly. Yeah, rising star. Exactly. So I think you mentioned earlier about the nomination. So go ahead.
Right. So it did get some Academy Award nominations, which is funny when you think of it as like such a goofy movie, but like these are technical awards.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, because I know I'd looked this up at one point, I think it's the only Drew movie to have any Oscar nominations besides E.T.
Oh, wow.
Like, kind of wild. So it was nominated for cinematography, sound, and sound editing, which all makes sense. But it did not win any of them, but still cool.
It's cool. I mean, things being nominated, it's alone like a recognition.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into like recent years. There's a couple little like updates about the film, despite it being 30 years old. There's still like fans out there who love it.
Love it. Do you want me to talk about this?
Yeah, let's talk about the Schumacher cut sort of movement. So go for it.
Okay, so we're not going to go too deep into it, but there is this huge online movement of fans who are trying to basically pressure Warner Brothers into putting out an official release of this, you know, director's cut. So it's what was edited out of the final version. Mm-hmm. And it was originally a lot darker than what we ended up getting. And the original length was closer to 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is crazy. You guys can go deep on this if you're interested. Like I said, check out Cut Schumacher on Instagram. They're kind of the ringleaders. They're also on Twitter. That's where they're always trying to like gain traction and get Warner Brothers to listen. Supposedly Kevin Smith has a copy of it.
Okay.
Why? I don't know. But
he's like one of the biggest Batman fans.
That's true. He's
like,
really into superheroes.
Yeah.
And he hosted a screening of it a few years ago. I listened to a podcast of somebody who got to watch it, and I did not gather that there was any extra Drew footage. But knowing that there were 2 scenes that were filmed with her that were cut, I'm like, maybe they are in there. I would love to know.
Yeah.
One day, maybe.
Yeah. One day we'll get access to the stuff that was on the cutting room floor, maybe. In 2023, on the 4th season of the animated show Harley Quinn, Sugar and Spice appeared as a background like cameo. No lines, right?
I don't think so. It's so cute.
Like, it's so cute to see like the Drew and Debbie inspired animations. Really cute. The episode page, I'm sure we'll have an image of that.
Definitely. And then that same year for Halloween, the Jenner sisters, Kylie and Kendall, they dressed as Sugar and Spice, and Drew on her show said she didn't even think it was real when she first saw it. And then she realized, no, that really is them dressed up as us. How cool. Which, you know, it's just fun that it's still recognizable because it is small. Like a lot of people are like, she's in that movie. And then but I think the imagery is almost more memorable than it being Drew, which is funny.
Right. And it was really fun to see an homage to something, like, and I'm sure it made Drew feel good, like I like how she said it wasn't real, like what, because Drew doesn't realize how like famous she is.
She really doesn't. We've been told this by people who know her personally.
Yeah, absolutely. So that wraps up our coverage of this really fun, campy film that I'm glad we revisited it. Like, unfortunately, people passing, are one of the reasons that we like are covering it, but celebrating 30 years, that's really fun.
So cool. And it's like really neat that Drew is part of the Batman films. Like, it's such a unique thing in her filmography. It's her only foray into superhero movies, which is, it's just like a neat little thing that she's done once. And I love that she did it.
Me too. And it is kind of interesting to think like since then, or like how many superhero movies that there have been and like that she hasn't appeared. That's not her vibe, but we got a taste of it with this. And the surrealism.
It's delicious.
The deliciousness, the like playfulness, so much fun. So
love it.
Yeah.
Thanks you guys for coming around and listening. If you only found us because you are one of those Batman Forever fans and you enjoyed what we did, you can rate and review and subscribe, of course. And you can follow us on Instagram at How Do You Drew Pod. And we also have another account at Drewseum for all Drew non-pod related content.
That's a good point. It's like, that's the only.
Well, there's a reason.
There's a reason. We're trying to keep the Drewseum as its own kind of entity. Okay. Also visit our website at howdoyoudrew.com, hosted on the Drewseum, the other entity. And make sure you sign up for our Patreon, where we're still over there covering Little Girl Lost. The last few chapters will be, trickling out over the next, I don't know how long.
And then hopefully dinner at 8, and you can see the influence of Jean Harlow's character with Sugar.
Yeah, so don't miss all that on our Patreon.
Patreon.com/howdoyoudrew.
And don't forget to send listener mail to us at howdoyoudrewpod@gmail.com, or like our friend Luana, you can message us on Instagram.
Yeah.
We like hearing from you guys. We are glad that somebody's hearing all this excitement and dorkiness over here. All right, you guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you all next Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
This episode of the How Do You Drew podcast was researched and produced by Ashley and Ann from thedrewseum.com with help from our sponsor, Positive Medium.
Special thanks to Matt Costa for our lovely theme song, Roxy Prima for our adorable logo, and last but not least, Drew Barrymore and all the Drewbies who love her. We do this for you.
Thank you.